We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up all our friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone.
Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Hit the notification bell so you can see all the great Porsche content that we bring to you. If you're not new to the channel, thanks for joining us. We are back at Reeves, Porsche of Tampa. Thank you so much for supporting us, Reeves, and bringing us an opportunity to bring you this vehicle for review. Aaron, why don't you tell them what we're in today?
2020 Cayenne Coupe.
That's right, the Coupe. So this is the base Coupe. This is the 3-liter V6 twin turbo, right? What's the horsepower number on this?
It is
magical number. Dun, 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 dun.
335 horsepower.
All right, and
32 for torque.
So pretty balanced.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Pretty even.
This thing is awesome looking. It's in white. It's a good spec. So we'll stick around and we'll show you what we like about it. We're gonna drive it, take it around the city, and pretty much where this thing's gonna live most of the time, right? Yeah. So stay tuned. Hit that intro. Be able to do a couple things, you know, towing is one of them, you know, going to Trader Joe's, another one. How good does it do that? We're going to take you through all of that. Just kidding. But seriously, on towing, what does this thing tow?
So we got 7,700 pounds of towing capacity.
It's really good. So you can tow a good sized trailer in a car, good sized boat, you know, whatever. So it has the coupe lines. I know it's been somewhat controversial. Like some people say it's kind of, why are they making that? Do they think they're going to sell? I can answer that for you already. Yes, they're going to sell, because honestly, I think this should become the standard, the coupe for the Cayenne.
Yeah, very similar to how we think the Sport Turismo should just be the
I know you lose some cubic feet of storage compared to like this being the coupe because of the slanting feature in the rear. However, just the body lines look so much better in this SUV compared to the standard Cayenne. And I think that's a general consensus, because I remember Chris was saying something to that effect to us as well. Remember, he was saying, you know, there was somebody who really didn't want the Cayenne, even though they needed a new Porsche SUV, and because they didn't like the way it looked. But this came out and they actually put an order out for one of these. So this may change a lot of people over that were maybe potential Cayenne buyers to the coupe that weren't buying Cayennes before, possibly, you know? So, good old Smokey. But so far, even though it's the base, the 3-liter V6 from the driver's standpoint, it's very responsive. Don't let that horsepower number fool you. Even though this is a big vehicle, it moves it around no problem.
That's enough, for sure, 100%.
You mentioned a really good thing when we got in it with as far as road presence.
Yeah, I just feel, you know, while you sit higher than the Macan, obviously, and just how big it is.
Yeah.
It's just a different feeling.
Visibility is outstanding in this as well. There's a lot of glass in here, which is great. Even though it has a slanted coupe line, you don't feel claustrophobic in here.
I don't know. A lot of room. The dash is super deep.
Yeah, the steering is super tight. Even being an SUV, it's still Porsche. You know, it still has that element of sportiness to it. There's never everything in their product line. It has that. You're not just because this is an SUV. Anybody who's watching, if you've never been in one of these or driven one of these, I could tell you that the steering is very, very responsive.
That's not all SUVs are created
Yeah, if you've driven an SUV of some, whatever brand, you think you're like, oh, well, yeah, I've driven an SUV before. It's like a truck. These are not, Porsche's line of SUVs are not like trucks. They're basically like cars that are morphed into like an SUV, essentially, because it still drives like a car. It handles a lot like a car. The steering is very responsive. The speed is a lot like a car, but you just can tow a lot, and you can take a lot more people and stuff with you, essentially.
I mean, it's like, we know it's all designed for performance first, and then it turns into an SUV, or it turns into a 911. That's how they just do their engineering.
Mm-hmm. And the tech in this is really good. This is a direct crossover from the 992 911, even from the dash cluster with the digital RPM gauge right in the center.
Exactly the same.
All of the click points are exactly the same. So essentially, if you've seen a 992 911, that's what this looks like. You'll see that on the beauties as well. But I'm just saying, as far as the way this looks, it's a very familiar place to be. If you've driven a 911 or anything like that to that effect, it's a safe place to be. So you think about, if you own a 911 and you own this, all the functionality is going to be very similar, especially if it's a 992, if they're both new. But even if it's not new, it's not too difficult to figure out. It's very user-friendly, which is really nice. How do you feel about these seats? These seats are
I think it's some of the most comfortable seats.
Yeah, that's the first thing I realized when I got into the car was how comfy this seat was.
Yeah, I mean, driving other cars, I think there's a little bit more of a sporty feel of these. But these seats are definitely, you're in an SUV and they're being comfortable like they should be for a road trip.
Yeah, and I know it sounds strange to say it because the design cues aren't that different, but I feel sportier in this. As weird as that sounds, I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but it does feel sportier than a standard Cayenne, doesn't it?
You just know you're streamlined, that's what it is.
Maybe because the roofline has changed a hair. So, but whatever the case may be, the steering is super, super tight. The transmission is still responsive. It's not PDK responsive, but it's still quick.
That's its job.
Yeah, I mean you don't lack for something. You're not like, oh, I wish it was PDK.
No, I mean, because it's in the reality of things, even if it was PDK, you're in a big SUV. It's not the times that you're really going to be on the track with it. No.
Well, the thing about, you and I have discussed this several times in the past as well, and we'll reiterate it right now. This has a higher towing capacity for a reason, and really it's based off the transmission and what it's able to handle and what it's capable of handling. I think if this was a PDK, it might have a little bit more of a trouble trying to tow 7,700 pounds.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't even get near that, just because of that. One, the car's heavier than the Macans they put the PDKs in. Mm-hmm. And so then, your towing capacity is super lessened. I mean, like half.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't plan that with the Macan Porsche next to us.
The other way.
Yeah, but again, the steering wheel feels outstanding. I know we've driven all types. We've driven carbon fiber packages. We've driven wood trim packages. The leather steering wheel is my favorite. We've driven Alcantara steering wheels. The leather one is the way to go, hands down. It's the most durable. It's the one that makes the most sense. It's going to be the one that cooks your hands probably the less, and be less grimy looking at the end of the day compared to all of them. How do you feel about this dash?
Coming from other specs like the club spec and other things, I really like a leather dash.
I do too.
And it is in a price point where I'm sure you can option a leather dash, but I don't know.
Yeah, but speaking of price point, what's the price on this particular vehicle?
95.
So $95,000, guys. So, that's a lot of money. And you are getting a lot of car with it. You're getting a lot of performance. You're getting a lot of things with it. But I agree with Aaron. For $100,000, this is like a synthetic, like it's not ABS. It's not that bad, but it's a soft material.
It's composite.
It's like a composite. Yeah. It's not leather. Let's put it that way. It's not bad, but it isn't great.
Yeah.
And
once you see it full leather dash, that's what changes your opinion.
Exactly.
You may not care. This may be like, oh, it's durable. I don't have to worry about getting something in the leather.
Yeah, and obviously this is UV resistant, so it's not going to fade. it may not be a deal breaker for a lot of people, but I guess I'm just trying to be, you know, understanding, because there's a lot of people with a lot of different type of like price points and what they're able to afford out there. And that $95,000 is a lot of money at the end of the day. But you are getting a lot of car. I'm not trying to make excuses for it. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want everything for $95,000, which is understandable, right?
Well, then you would get, I mean, if you could do it, if you could still have the space, the Macan filled that spot, then I would just go that direction. Well, I mean, these base are 75, so I mean that's optioned up to 95.
That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, exactly. This isn't the price. This is this car optioned up. But again, guys, just remember, you know, what you're getting, the craftsmanship, what you're getting. This thing's gonna run forever. It's gonna look great forever. It's gonna handle better than any SUV on the road, really. Just because it's got all that Porsche DNA.
Yep.
So you are paying for that as well. Some people don't value that. I do value that. I think it's their position and everything, their packages that they put together is second to none.
And you can clearly see that like there's a difference. I think even in the quietness in the cabin between, if you were to compare, if you go back and forth in an SUV lineup between the Macan and this, there's definite difference. There's just a level of that they take this is even SUV more serious.
Exactly.
Than they do the Macan.
Well, then the thing about it too is like even like early Cayennes and, you know, whatever makes and models of them all, the build quality and refinement of those vehicles are still to this day, even if they're a decade old, are still tight. There's no squeaks, bumps, rattles, none of that stuff that other SUVs are plagued by. And rightfully so. You shouldn't be plagued by those things at this price point. But what I'm getting at is the attention to detail. And it is always very, very nice. And I do like design cues that are, this is a very sporty design cue setup as far as all of this goes.
Yep, that's got it's outlined aluminum everywhere, and then where the trim's at, it's like an olive gray is what it's called for the trim color.
Yeah, it's a sports chrono in here. It's a very, very nice display. You got pano roof, so it lets a lot of light in. It feels it's a very airy cabin, which is one of my favorite things in regards to Porsche SUVs as wholes. Now, granted, you have to option that, but I think that's an option that you must have.
It's gotta be a must.
Because it really, really brightens and opens up the cabin.
It does. It really does. I mean, there's glass, so much glass everywhere, where it's just a good greenhouse.
Comfy cozy, huh?
It is another world. It does feel super comfortable in here.
She's a big girl.
She is.
She's been doing squats.
Yeah, she's thick. It does feel good. Yes, this ride, this drivability just feels very.
I know we're not doing a comparison to the Macan in this, but my personal preference, not that because it matters or one's better than the other, I do like this cushy ride better than the sporty Macan. That's just me.
In fairness, we did have it in Sport Plus. I'm sure it rides a little bit smoother and regular.
Oh, of course.
Right now I have it in normal mode and drive. So.
I'm just talking about for me. I have two lowered sports cars.
Yeah, that's true.
911 Turbo S on coilovers and the 964 it's dumped out on coilovers. So to be able to ride in a living room for a change, I really enjoyed this experience a lot more. I don't need a sporty SUV. I like the cushiness of this SUV, and that's the nice part about it. There's a lot of comfortability with this, the Cayenne.
It is. Like it's soaking up everything.
Oh yeah, just drinking up the bumps in the road. No problem. No big deal. No issues.
would say that. I mean, the steering is direct, but you can tell it's a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's got huge tires all the way around too. It's like 315s all the way around.
They're not playing.
I mean, it has a really, really good contact patch. And like I said, I think it's a placebo effect, but I feel like this car is sportier, but it has a better road presence than the regular Cayman.
Yeah,
I mean, not Cayman, excuse me, Cayenne.
Yeah, because you're seeing just that slow back, and immediately you're thinking sports car.
Not faster.
It just doesn't.
I feel like even the windshield line is a little bit more raked.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with that.
So that it is probably not just placebo. It is actually like it's optically making you feel more sporty, because even like the window lines are different.
Yeah, well, they're able to do that. That's what the coupe line in the back gives them the ability to do. The lower, upper end, that allows them to really rake that. Is it really?
I want one of these daily, man.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. That's for sure.
Porsche, if you want to give me a long time loaner for free on one of these, sign me up.
Nice. Yeah, for real. This thing is just.
I'll be a walking advertisement for you guys. And it's got good pickup, even though this is the base. You know, it's 335 horsepower and 325 foot-pounds of torque. It's healthy, like it's balanced. It doesn't feel like it has too much of torque or horsepower. It's a perfect linear number.
Yeah, you're not feeling weight. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Enjoy this thing. If anyone's in the market for an SUV, not that one's better than the other, but if you're looking for more of kind of a less sporty feel but still feels sporty, I guess, if that makes any kind of sense, what I just said. Like, it still feels sporty, but there's a lot of luxury that comes with it, I guess. And you don't have the Macan is good in its own things. Its attributes are it's closer to the ground. You sit deeper in the car. You don't sit on top of the car. It makes you feel more sporty. It's more nimble. But if you want something more like this, it has great road presence. It's still quick. It can tow a lot.
It really fills out the utility portion of SUV.
Yeah.
Where the Macan fills out the sporty portion of the SUV.
Yeah, I could really road trip the hell out of this thing.
It's definitely reminds, like Mike and I were talking, it reminds you of like truck ride, where it's all like cushy, but then it still has a little bit of the car feels as far as performance and steering feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, overall, this is a win too. I mean, I know we're Porsche biased, but we point out things that don't make sense on the cars. I pointed out, like little stuff, but I mean, this car makes good sense. We weren't thrilled about the dash situation, but that's just the way this is particularly spec'd. You can unspec that. Of course, you're going to spend more money, but I mean, even at the entry point Aaron mentioned at $75,000, even if you don't go heavy on the specs, you're still getting the bulk of all what this is, like, as far as you're getting the coupe still. You're still getting the horsepower doesn't change anymore. Like, all the other things that balloon this up to 95 are aesthetic stuff. It's the sports design, it's the wheels, and it's all this little other stuff. So you could get away with this at 75 grand if you pick something in the color wheel that didn't have to upcharge for. You were okay with the wheels that they gave you, which are still nice wheels. That's a really reasonable price.
Yeah, especially if you needed something a little bit bigger than Macan and you tried it out, because I mean that's into Macan territory.
Yeah,
at least.
Because think about it, you're still getting all that towing, because the towing doesn't go down because of that number. Like, the base entry on that is still $7,700.
Yep.
You're still going to get leather. Like the Porsche's not going to be ever spec'd. Even the base model Cayenne is still a nice car, is what I'm getting at.
So far, there's not a Cayenne T.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to have cloth seats.
Yeah, you're not getting the basics, the lightweight spec where you get the cloth seats and the plexiglass windows and all that kind of stuff, and the crank downs. All those days are gone. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in so much. Such a great video and great time today at Porsche. We were glad to be back, basically reviewing cars again, coming back to semi-normal state, I guess, in the world. for us. We're thankful that you guys joined us. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell as well so you can get the notifications every time we bring out something new. We're usually bringing out videos at least 3 times a week at some fashion and some sort of fashion. So thank you guys again. Want a big shout out to thank you Porsche of Tampa and the Reeves family for supplying this video. They are a stand-up group of people. Make sure if you purchase a vehicle, you purchase a vehicle from them. And we'll see you guys on the next one.